Is Josh. Like I'm gonna make this video like whatever's the biggest. Donald Trump and cheeseburger. LeBron said, is that the biggest? You want to know what the biggest news today is? Like my feet. Look at that, dude. I don't even show you. I don't even know that. The biggest news of the day. You want the biggest news? This isn't even the biggest news of the day. This is the biggest news probably of all time of cable news of every cable news program, every news show ever on TV, ever on radio. Probably even it's bigger than that. This is bigger than the Gutenberg printing press printing the Bible, the first Bible, and starting in the 15th. This is bigger than that. You want the biggest news? You guys won't cover it. But this is Donald Trump or LeBron James, Taylor. This is the biggest news of all time. All right, here you go. After David had, it's right there. It's like written down. Yeah, you can go look this up. And like before I get into it, you can look it up. It's in the Old Testament. Oh, it's in there. Word of God. You can go to like all the universities and Bill Nye, the science guy, and he'd be like, and you can look because it's history, right? And then I'm Moshiach, so whatever. Anyway, so David has sex with Sheba, right? And he kills Uriah in Solomon's court. And God sends this prophet guy, Nathaniel, to tell him, you know, since you did this, I'm going to break apart Israel. I'm going to break apart the kingdom. I'm going to wait until after your son is off the throne. But because of your sin, I'm going to break it apart. But Judah and Jerusalem will always be in your family. Those are the word of God. Do a mitzvah. Do a mitzvah. Are we doing a mitzvah? Do I do a mitzvah and go hava nagil, or is this what? But that's what it says, right? So Solomon, whatever, builds the temple. Then there's several kings after that, right? And then the Assyrian Empire shows up. The Assyrians, right on the doorstep. You know what they do? They break apart Israel. But they don't. The whole thing doesn't fall. They break apart the northern kingdom. They break it apart, right? But they can't conquer Judah and Jerusalem. Kind of like the words that God told Nathaniel to tell David, right? Rabbinical Judaism, such a joke. Anyway, so they break it apart. But here's the thing. There's this thing. I don't know if you ever heard of it. It's called the Lost 10 Tribes of Israel, right? Because they couldn't conquer Benjamin and Levi's portion in there. But the 10 tribes up at the top, the Assyrians conquered. And you know what they did with them? They assimilated them and they moved them out of Israel all over the Assyrian Empire. Then they took their own people and they put them in their place. They ruled for like 120 years. The tribes are missing. Nobody knows where they went. Everybody, they're the only tribe were those two tribes. They're left 120 years. After 120 years, I think they established their own culture there. That's why, like, when Jesus goes up there, it's like, it's a Melanin woman. That's where that comes from, right? We'll get to that. So, I'm Alicia, Alicia, let's just make songs out of all this, like little kid nursery rhyme song. So anyway, 120 years, those tribes are gone, right? So then Nebuchadnezzar comes, right? And he conquers the Assyrians and he conquers Judah, right? And he exiles the Jews for 70 years. He sends them all back to Nebuchadnezzar land, to Babylon, right? And they're there until Cyrus comes and like recover, and then they all go back. Where do you think they went back to? They went back to Nazareth. No, why would they go back to Nazareth? They're not from any of those tribes. That's not their homeland. Not my homeland anymore. So I'm a Taylor Swift song. That's not their homeland. They wouldn't have gone to Ephraim. They wouldn't have gone to Manasseh. They wouldn't have gone to Galilee. They wouldn't have gone to Nazareth. They would have went back to Judea. All of them. None of them would have went north. I don't even think they would have been able to go back north because you want to know what? The Assyrians established that as their homeland. And the Babylonians came in after that. No Jews came in after that. They went back to Judea. They built their temple. So they're all Judean and Benjamites, but it's the same place almost. Right? Until Jesus Christ shows up. And then all of a sudden there's Jews. All of a sudden Jesus is in Nazareth. Why would he even be in Nazareth? And that's the funny part about the biblical story of like the made up Caesar Augustus. Caesar Augustus ruled all of Rome. Had Egypt. He had all of Europe. All this money. All of Greece. And he proclaimed a census for Judea. Because they got so much money. He personally did. That's why there's government. I mean, that's not even how the Roman government works. I mean, I don't even know. Maybe, you don't even have to go look up the Roman government. You just look up the American government because it's based on Rome. And the president doesn't go to the governor of, or the mayor of, where am I at? I'm in Lake City and go, hey, I need you to do a census. You know what I mean? State governments handle it. And that's how it's a little bit more sophisticated now, but it's based on the Roman system. Caesar Augustus doesn't issue a decree. You want to know what? We need to do a census on all these Jewish people. He probably didn't even know who the fuck they were. So straight up. So Jesus goes up to Bethlehem down to Judea. The reason is because there were no Jews up in Nazareth. They made it up. It's made up. There wouldn't have been any Jews. They would have been, because he's the line of David. He went to the city of his lineage. What, Bethlehem? That's not even the city of David. The city of David's Jerusalem. But, I mean, whatever's. Anyway. So, and maybe that's where they made the mistake, because there's a Bethlehem up in Nazareth, and when they're making it up, they're like, I went up to Bethlehem to Nazareth, or up to Judea to the city, because he was actually in Judea. I don't even know. Is Jesus real? Is he not? Is he in Nazareth? Is he not? Is he from Galilee, or is he from Bethlehem? Is he Janus, the Roman god, who is the gatekeeper and opens up the doors? Jesus opens doors and says the gates. Jesus, Janus, Dionysus, the god of wine. Jesus' first miracle is the wine. He is divine, the wine divine with the swine. Dionysus, the lamb, the god of wine. Jesus, Dionysus, Janus, Jesus. I don't know. Did you see a pattern here? Anyway. So there wouldn't have been any Jews in Nazareth. None. Zero. Just like Paul. There would have been no Jews in Greece or Asia Minor. They hadn't been dispersed. Because there's this war going on between the Jews. That's why the Romans destroyed the temple. Because the Jews keep revolting in Judea. Because there's no Jews up in Nazareth. They're all in Judea. They keep revolting, so Rome destroys the temple. It's like 70 A.D. Then the Jews disperse. But Paul is out there doing his thing. I'm coming in the name of Jesus Christ in the Spirit of the Spirit and the Spirit. And he's going up to Asia Minor and Turkey. And he's from Turkey. I don't know how the Jews even got up to Turkey. Paul did. And then there's a bunch of Jews up there that shouldn't even be there. I don't even know how they got there. Osmosis, I guess. Or maybe God just said, those are miracles, those Jews hell no. Well, Jesus Christ. Or a second, more controversial, is that they made the whole fucking thing up. I don't know which one it is. But you can go to the history books, and you can go to Havana. Now, I mean, you consider it. After World War II, Hitler had control of the Vatican. The jig was up. All the governments know that Christianity isn't real. I don't know if this is fact. This is why they did it. But I mean, how do you oppose? I mean, you want the Jews to go along with it. How do you keep propping up Christianity? You make an Israel, and then you go, hey, you guys got this, man. Then nobody will ask questions about were there really supposed to be Jews? And the other thing is, you know what Mormonism is? Here's another fact. Mormonism the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. You know, there's a Mormon, Mitt Romney. He ran for president. You know what they believe in? The 10 tribes, Ephraim and Manasseh, escaped. Right? This is what the Mormons believe. Escaped from the Assyrians, sailed across the sea, across the Atlantic, and came to America before Columbus. Had sex with Native Americans, and Native American tribes propped up. And there was this big battle. It was the Naphtali or whatever their names were. I don't know. Morani or Morano or Moran, whatever. Their Gabriel told Joseph Smith this, right? And there was a big battle, and they wiped him out, right? And then Morano or Moran or Morani, whatever their Gabriel, came to Joseph Smith and said, "You guys are the chosen bloodline of Bethlehem Ephraim." I don't know how that's possible since none of them are Native American, but whatever. It's like Hava Nagila. Anyway, you need to go prepare a land for the return of Jesus Christ. That's like when you go to Utah, everything's named after everything in Israel, right? That's why it's okay that they went and slaughtered all the Native Americans and took all their shit. That's all the Mormons control the West Coast and have all that money. Because Morano, because they're the chosen people of Bethlehem Ephraim, and they need to prepare it for the return of Jesus Christ. People say, I'm crazy. That is the stupidest story I've ever heard. But anyway, it's true. The 10 laws. That's what Mormonism is. That's what Mormons believe. That guy ran for president. Anyway, this isn't really about Mitt Romney. This is more about proof that what I'm telling you is true. That, I mean, that's like a Trump call. Like, Trump, mate, there could have been no Jews. There were no Jews in Nazareth. Jesus wouldn't have been from Nazareth. There would have been no Jews up there because they're all from the tribe of Judah. They would have returned to their home. And when they returned to their home, they would have returned to their home of Judah. They wouldn't have gone to Nazareth, or I don't even know what all the little tribes are up there. They wouldn't have gone up there because they've never been there because they're from Judah. I don't know what the Mormons do. They probably, I mean, Christianity and like Judaism, it's all a bunch of like, you guys are basically just Hare Krishnas. That, I mean, there's so many of you that people don't even question. Anyway, that's the biggest news of the day.